do hear you, yes.
Oh, sorry.
Hello everyone, we are Project Hear Me. My name is Mia Ramos. I work in Blender, so I'll be doing 3D modeling and animation.
My name is Olivia Reyes. I do UI UX design and Unity development.
My name is Dane Kavanaugh Toft. I'll be the project lead for this assignment.
My name is DJ. I work in Blender and I do a lot of world building in Unity.
Pass it all the way down. My name's Noah Detweiler, and I will mostly be doing the audio production.
Awesome. Well, for this project, it will be a VR experience in which you'll use your voice to project out and visualize the world around you. Speak out into the world to find your way forward and journey into the unknown so you can learn and see what the future holds for you. This project will specifically explore the anxieties about the future and just the unknown, that's ahead of you. It'll explore the fears of exploring a new phase of your life and telling you that your voice is your most powerful tool that you own.
All right, so the original inspiration for this project was actually...
Turn the volume down. Oh, hold on.
I don't know if we're going to play the video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll probably.
This is just a...
Probably do like a quick clip.
Yeah, this GIF that you see is a game called lidar.exe, where you have a lidar gun. If you don't know what that is, it's a type of photo scanning, and in the game you can see nothing, and then you are able to scan the environment and build the world, or be able to see the world around you. And so our kind of inspiration came from that, and using the echolocation to do the same kind of idea.
So based on the same premise, another reference or another inspiration for this experience is another game called Lurking. If you want to look at the Google slides, you can see in actual videos at both of these references. But Lurking is a game that uses your own voice to kind of do echolocation, and as you speak up, the world around you lights up. But then as you stop speaking, the world goes darker. And as you're exploring this game, the NPCs around you can also use the same mechanics to find you. So that's another way we were thinking of.
Okay, and then we also put Bee and Puppy Cat. If you don't know, that's like a little animated series. It's very cute, very amazing, very chill. It's just like one of those lo-fi, hip-hop, do-your-homework videos, but it's a whole animated series. We decided to just put that on there as an inspiration because, it's great, but also it kind of just represents the calming effect of finally knowing what you're going to do at the end of the experience. It's just going to be once you're done with the experience, you're going to be able to see everywhere you traveled, where you've spoken, your choices that you've made, and be able to go through them in a much lighter light, as you've already lit up your whole way through the experience.
Oh, nice one. They're all playing?
We're just gonna play everything. That's what's happening. Hey. So to make this happen, we are going to focus on, I believe, about 5 things that, 5 key aspects of the project that need to be developed. 1 is developing VR experiences. 2, developing gamified interactions. So although this is an experience and not necessarily a game, interactions you have with other NPCs and the mechanics you use to traverse through the world are inherently gamified to help engage the user. In addition, we want to create a compelling narrative. That's something we want to build so that although the idea is cool, you have a narrative that's meaningful and engaging. In addition, creating audio that engages and fits the world that we design, and design a world that is accessible and has good user experience overall. VR is one of those things that we get caught up in the immersive parts, but if it's not engaging, if it's not accessible, there's a lot that can get lost. And so to do all those things, we're going to be using the Unity engine as our main building engine for the game, and then Oculus and MetaQuest headset and technologies. So I say technologies because we're also going to likely be using the hub and different packages that they already provide. Visual Studio for development of the C+ script, Blender for 3D modeling and different asset building, Adobe Illustrator and XD. That's going to be on my part for design, wireframing, and progress mapping. And then FL Studio for the audio creation and production. And the main points of our project really highlights are the use of VR, the use of sound, and discovery of our own skills, discovery of what's in the unknown, and yeah. Any questions? Oh, come on now.
Any concerns?
Any
Yeah.
concern?
Anything you're scared about?
Any criticisms?
Actually, this isn't really much of a question. It's
So,
I
how,
have many people.
Let's go in the back.
Yeah,
has anyone here in this group, have you guys played with this, where you can like use your voice to reveal things? Or is there already a game where you can do that?
So that was the first two references, LiDAR and Lurking. Those two games specifically use echolocation to find your way through the worlds. And none of us haven't created anything like that yet, but using these two games as references, we'd be able to do this.
They specifically make use of the headset microphone, and based on volume and whatnot, will determine the degree of projection or the distance of projection. But yeah.
Another question over here.
This isn't really much of a question, it kind of is. Have you guys heard of something called Before Your Eyes? It is something very similar to what your concept is. So basically, you put a camera up and it tracks your eyes, and every time you blink, you're going through someone's life, and every time you blink, it skips to
yeah.
another portion of someone's life.
I do.
Just maybe think of your guys' project will be interactivity, sort of. I don't know
Before
if that
Your
was an
Eyes,
inspiration,
okay.
but
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Thank you.
yeah.
Damn sure you don't want to see that.
So I don't know these two games that you have up there specifically, but they seem like they're sound games and not language games. And it seems like what you want to do is to make like a language game, which has a whole other element of like recognizing the meaning behind people's words rather than just like the frequency or the volume or the actual like auditory information. So how do you plan on actually going about processing like what the words that the microphone's picking up are saying? Like, are you gonna have a list of like commands that you're gonna give the player, or are you gonna use like AI or something?
So it actually is not so focused on the language aspect. It is in fact a sound game. So we are not necessarily going to be tracking the things said. It is going to be mostly like volume and pitch, and because we want to focus a lot on like the shouting aspect, like screaming into the unknown. So there's actually not so much of an emphasis on language. However, potentially future, who knows?
Did you have something to add to that?
No.
I was also going to say, just when it comes to the NPCs and whatnot, we were thinking of using more of music to portray tone. You know, like maybe using more, comfortable arpeggios to like describe. Oh, this person's like, they're a nice person. They have something good to say, or like maybe an arpeggio with like a minor third, pushed in, just to like be like, oh, that's kind of off. So like, it's going for more of the tone than the actual words. Yeah.
I may have missed this, but for the NPCs and things you encounter in the experience, are they all going to be like friendly and amenable, or are there going to be things in this environment that are threatening, or things that you should avoid?
That's a good question. One of the main goals, or there's a lot of things that we left out of this project, obviously. One idea that I had personally was to gamify anxiety, to put that into the game or the experience somehow, be it through like I'm not quite sure, like making like music in a way that like it alters like the background music to be like a an unsettling feeling, or like weird shapes that somehow appear when you're like trying to vocalize out that don't really stick to the surroundings. So just gamifying the gamifying anxiety is pretty much what I have to say for that. Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the whole thing is like, it's the unknown. You don't know who you're gonna meet out there. You don't know if they're gonna be good, you don't know if they're gonna be bad. Are they gonna impact you and show you the way maybe, or block your way? So it's literally just the unknown. You don't know what's gonna happen, but it's all based on the sound. So you really gotta, in this experience, you really gotta listen to the tones and where you're gonna go, because it could be totally random. Yeah?
Do you guys have any like thoughts about spatial audio in this? Because I've like seen
a lot of games where they'll have sequences where you can't see it all, but you can hear left and right channel, and then that directs you where to go. I don't know. It was just an idea. I just threw it out there.
I just hopped onto this project. They kind of already had it all planned out, but definitely, I think that's really important, spatial audio. Like being able to hear what's behind you, what's to the left, being able to identify where sounds are coming from, especially since majority of the game is going to be very dark and there's going to be visuals, but it's mostly going to be like produced from the sound that you produce. So yeah, I think that's definitely like a goal of ours, is to have fully spatial audio and have that, yeah, just interact with the player.
Anything else?
The phrasing blocking the path just made me think, is it, in terms of how you're moving through the environment, is it like more like a web of paths, or is it an open space? And if it's an open space, are we thinking massive or small?
Yeah. Well, actually, we thought of multiple like phases of this project. The first one would be like in childhood, when stuff is really simple. It's like a bit of a straight line, like a corridor, So I guess to answer your question, it would start out simple and progressively get more and more complex. We will see where the scope of this project takes us, but we're hoping the final stage of it will be kind of like the original Legend of Zelda, where you're plopped in, and good luck. That's kind of we want you to explore it as such as you explore your own life.
So this sounds really cool. My question is, so you clearly putting precedence here. We've been talking about some other things that are like it. So I would encourage you to think about what you could do with sound, space, and storytelling in a game environment. Like just off the top of my head, and I don't mean to constrain you at all or how you develop it, but just as a thought, something that could be really neat is thinking about narrative and dialogue as a player. So it's like you can think about how in a first-person game, which this is what this would be, right? So you wouldn't be seeing yourself, and so I think there's something really interesting about how people choose in various games. Like I'm thinking about like The Witcher versus like Elder Scrolls, where your character doesn't talk, and in so many ways, it makes it be more personal, right? And it makes it you. So like anytime there's narrative, it comes from the player and it makes it more personalized. And so when the narrative is coming from a voice actor, it's more distant and you kind of like become that character. So I would encourage you to think about how you're imagining like in the internal dialogue of experiencing this world, and maybe thinking about if you're doing like kind of a choice-based branching narrative, then the internal dialogue for the person would develop and change. I think that would be a really cool entry point that hasn't been explored very much in games, and so long story short, I just encourage you to think about what you like about these games, but what you can do differently, and I think you have a lot of opportunities and a great foundation to do something really interesting, and so I want to encourage you to push yourselves to go beyond your initial ideas and like kind of try out some things with narrative, character development, and how you can really enrich your original idea, because I do think that this is could be quite interesting if you push it in certain directions. So I just want to encourage you to do that.
I really appreciate that. I know personally I've been brainstorming since this project even, did all this. And I have so much stuff, like so many notes on my phone.
That's fun,
Yet to have an actual brainstorming session.
Yeah.
So this is just like the very rudimentary stuff. So I really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I would love to hear more about it as it develops, because it really does seem like such a rich foundation, and you could really do whatever with it. And that's fun. So I look forward to seeing what's next for you all.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else? Awesome, thanks for listening.
Thank you.